this is starting to feel pretty nice. 7 o'clock, jump in the car. The car does not feel like I'm getting into a freaking oven, as if I was a damn beef Wellington straight off of Gordon Ramsay's, prep table. It's good. And I definitely know that the gym isn't going to be a complete freaking inferno. Actually, not like it ever really is. Anyway, what am I even saying? But plan for today with back. Ooh. Actually, shit. What do I even want to do for back? I was thinking that I wanted to go to the private gym, but I've still got to go to the airport in Columbus because I need to pick up my luggage because it got lost. Not lost, but just like rerouted. I think I might have made a wrong turn. Yeah, let's go hit the metro. So down to metro, a little bit grungier. It's a badass freaking gym. That'll be the plan. Yeah, that's where we're headed for back. That'll be good. But yeah, I just completely derailed my conversation just by forgetting where I was going. But no, that'll be cool. So pull downs, rows, definitely a little bit more lat focused than not. Partially just because I want wider lats. Actually, I guess that's kind of the main reason. Honestly, for me, when I see guys who get a little bit too into it with their traps, it can it's almost a little too much. I feel like I don't look at myself and think, man, I wish my traps were bigger. That's kind of just the state of being that I'm at now. But yeah, I think this off season is going to come to an end. Guaranteed before October 1st. I can say that with certainty. And it might even end a little bit earlier. Something along those lines. Somewhere between now and October. And speaking of something that's between now and October, August is really turning into the freaking, expo month. So if you happen to be in London, I'm talking 30th and 31st. Ooh, might have to quote me on that. Look it up. Fairly certain. 30th and the 31st. Gymshark's doing a lift event over there. It's not a paid ticket type thing, but for you guys, I've got a primarily US based viewership. But if you happen to be over there, I will be there doing 2 days of everything. They got some just straight weights set up. Gonna do a little bit of panel talk. Yeah, it'll be fun. But yeah, I'm probably just gonna end up doing my lift there and just have everybody around me getting to hype me up. But no, that'll be cool. So 30th and the 31st, I'll be over there. So hopefully I don't diminish in size over the course of a freaking jump in the pond flight. I've had problems before where this is actually going to the UK Arnold, where I don't know what, maybe it was a me thing, or maybe it was because I was also doing a lot of different expos at the time, but it's like an overnight flight, and I was out of it. I'm talking just freaking, but not in a good way where it's like you just slept the whole night through and then you just wake up over there in the morning. Like it was a lot of tossing and turning. So as long as I can freaking, get a good night's rest, I think that's gonna be fun. Plus, I think I'll get to stop over at Dino's gym again. Not Ramon Dino. Very easy to make that mistake. No, I'm talking Dino's gym down in Solihull. I don't know the exact pronunciation, but they definitely know how to get it going over there. I might even, well, I guess by saying this is kind of referencing him, but it would definitely be cool to, if not get a lift at the exact same time, just be, hitting one at with James Hollingshead. He is a freaking nutcase in a good way. I'm talking just insane weights, controlled. Like he was hitting the. This is only a few days after the last time I was over there that he posted a video in Dino's gym doing 200-pound incline dumbbell bench. straight out of a Ronnie Coleman, lift tape. Yeah, that was nuts. Very rare to see those freaking beasts in action. As much as we can see videos of, like a Nick Walker or Derek Lunsford, when you actually get to see him in person, like sometimes with the classic guys, I mean, it's just less freak factor. Freak factor in a different way, But when you see a dude just that freaking brolic, I mean, it's just crazy, Plus, you add leanness to the size, or leanness to the, I guess leanness to the size is what I meant. It's all good. But yeah, so plan for tonight with Beck. Really just get as pumped as freaking possible. Stop at the airport, pick up my stuff, get back and eat something. I've got a bit of a hankering that I think Canes could play a role in solving. That's not going to be a while though, because I mean, probably another 20-minute drive, hour-ish lift, however long it takes to get my bags. We'll have to see. But yeah, actually, Canes is on the menu tonight. I'm already getting excited about it. But let's not talk about that. Let's focus on what's first and get some kind of set started. Okay. Okay, let's move on. Those two were good. Oh shit. Was I out of focus those last two sets? Whoops. But this will be good. And this is a heavy kind of row. Like sometimes the stack is doable. This is about right. Nothing in my mind is telling me throw another plate on. Like this is a good amount of weight. Plus, I want this set to have a squeeze component. Those pull downs were heavy enough that even doing the rep kind of like, got my fill of difficulty. But since it's a little lighter, I want to get all the way up and have a little extra, maybe a little bit of a hole, or at least just a moment. And then my range of motion will break down where I can no longer hold it. And it'll just be like a few partials until I can say that was enough. But let's get real. Oh, yes. Ooh. Okay, one more like that. That was good. Very mid-back emphasized. Oh. Ooh. Okay. All right. Let's pick something else. I think 2 sets and then moving on is a good theme for today. Ooh, goodness. Just one of these. Oh, shit. Okay, let's use this. But that was good. Do it. Yeah. All right, some alternating single arm pullovers. Should be perfect. And these are going to be squeeze focused. Yeah. 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 Whoop. Oh, yeah. Ooh. Yeah, one of those is good. I don't know if you could hear that clang. Only got hit with the classic blunder where you have 3 plates on one side and then you take all the other ones off. He's all good. It's kind of funny. I've yet to do that, but I've come close. Just a nasty strip bar set would be good. And I'm getting close to the end of being fully pumped. Not there just yet, though. Two. Two. Sit. Sit. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Ah, shit. Let's find some lighting. That's good. Oh. All right. That was a good one. I can leave feeling good about that. And I just put this freaking shaker to the test. So, post-workout shake got brought back. I'm going to start adding those in at least just for these last couple of weeks of this off season to get a little bit of extra food in. Very easy add. Honestly, the shake form food is it's just a simple chug. But it was 60 grams of beef protein, right? As crazy as that might sound, beef, right? Not whey, not anything else. I think the whey protein, at least in beefy amounts, messes with me. But I'm thinking that the whey protein won't, because I'm not going to have that same lactose issue or just like dairy kind of response You know, I've got no problem with dairy protein, but I think, you know, if it's too much, it can start to add up. And I'm not texting them. I'm looking at directions because I got to go to the airport now. I've got a pit stop before I can actually get home for some canes, which I'm still very excited about. But this is actually a dieting hack, bulk-wise, which I do recommend. Right, a protein of your choice, and then however many packs of oatmeal as, I mean, honestly, kind of as you can handle. You know, I threw in 3. They were, so the protein was unflavored. That was a mistake, because unflavored protein of any variety, if it's in a powder form, is not like awesome. Like if you had unflavored whey, you would not like it. It's just, you know, there's nothing sweet about it. But that in tandem with 3 packs of instant oatmeal, which, you know, I let kind of soak for a little bit. So that ends up being 60 grams of protein, 75 grams of carbs, plus a touch of fats. That's a good meal, right? That's a solidly sized meal. And I'll see, you know, oh, well, you know, it's not the same as a bowl of white rice with chicken. And I mean, as long as your protein source and your carb source are still pretty much legit, you know, I think we kind of get hung up on just, let's see, what would I kind of want to describe it as? You know, kind of pattern recognition of what we think that a meal has to look like in order for it to be effective, you know, either bulking up or cutting down. You know, like if I could actually do it, you know, this is not ideal by any sense, but if all of my meals come this next dieting phase were any protein, you know, the protein, there's no really getting around it. You know, I'm talking beef, eggs, chicken, tuna, animal protein, that's pretty much cream of the crop, protein-wise. But carbs, I mean, shit, if I need to eat 200 carbs or 200 grams of carbs a day, and that's my limit, and I cannot go over that amount, then, you know, no matter where those carbs come from, I'm still gonna at least steadily lose weight as long as I'm in a deficit. You know, I'm not gonna have as much fun if those 200 grams of carbs are from Skittles, because you could eat 200 grams of sugar or Skittles in like 3 seconds. You know, I want to buy us like low carb buns and just, you know, potatoes, more complex carbs, so that I get sort of a slower blood sugar release, so I stay full for longer. You know, it just makes more sense. But if one day I decide, shit, man, I want a treat, you know, I want whatever, I want to, you know, eat something post-workout, you can fit it into your macros. You know, I haven't really been going on any macro rants, kind of just because I've been, you know, bulking, and the rule is kind of just eat. You know, it's not as strict per se as a diet, that's freaking for sure. But you know, once I decide, okay, it's time to get leaner, you know, shit's gonna flip around quick. You know, I'm not just gonna go instantly starvation 1,800 calories, but what I am gonna do is be, you know, very stringent with making sure every gram of everything is totally tracked and limited to the point where I'm not gonna go over, because it's no mystery. You know, it's no mystery if someone says, holy crap, I'm not losing any body weight. I'm not getting leaner, and I have no idea why. You don't have to be Dr. House to make the diagnosis that somebody's eating a little bit too much. You know, that wouldn't be an episode, right? That would be a YouTube short of Dr. House saying, do you see this? And then he's holding the fork, and he smacks it out of the guy's hand and say, get rid of that thing. You know, that's the answer. There's more to it than that, but that's pretty much the start of it. I can do as much cardio as I want. If I ate 4,000 calories a day, I'm never going to see quad veins. It just won't happen, you know, because I'm never going to lose body fat. Because the way I look at it, and I should really, I've got a whiteboard at the gym. I should really kind of draw this out. But from how I kind of imagine what's going on when I'm dieting is this. You know, essentially, my body's like, all right, dude, shit, you got a lot of stuff going on. You know, you gotta breathe, you gotta pump blood around your whole body, you gotta recover from all these workouts, you gotta do, you know, basically every bodily function that it takes to stay alive, plus recovering from your training, and all of those things take energy. I think we can all agree with that. So if you're eating enough calories and enough energy to basically count for all of that, why would you need to use any internal energy reserves as the body fat that you've got stored all over the place? You wouldn't, you know? If your phone is fully charged, you don't need any energy from a portable charger. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying, and like this isn't new information, is okay, well, clearly if I want to use my internal energy reserves, then I've got to cut power externally, right? I've got to limit the amount of calories and the amount of energy I'm getting from my food. And if I have to, you know, have enough energy to run or just burn enough calories to stay alive and recover from everything, then I'm giving my whole body system no choice but to run off of the energy that it's got internally, you know? Now, there's an extra layer to that too. Okay, what would we describe as, you know, our energy stores? You know, I think everybody gets the fact that body fat is stored energy, right? So, you know, come wintertime when there's no crops, you're going to be able to use that and stay alive a bit longer, right? If you took a guy who was like a marathon runner lean, and then you took a guy who had an extra 100 pounds of body fat on his system, and you both locked him in a room, you know, like Saw trap style, and just, you know, left him, that guy with an extra 50, 100 pounds of body fat, he's going to stay alive for longer because he can burn those internal energy reserves and keep himself functioning, you know? I mean, as long as they both get water, right? And they're hydrated and they're not just going to, you know, die of dehydration. So, you know, body fat, I think we get the gist, internal energy store. But there's also one more, and those are the carbs that you've got all over the place. I know, I'm pretty sure your liver stores a bunch of carbs as glucose. All of your muscle cells have a certain amount. You know, your brain's running off glucose. You get a bunch of basically just, you know, sugar water in your system. And that's a real easy energy source. You know, if you're trying to light a fire, you're going to throw kindling on it first because it burns quick, right? Those are your internal carbs. So for me to start burning my body fat, I've kind of got to, you know, use up a good chunk of those internal carbs. So I have to use the body fat as energy, right? So that's why I say, like, as soon as I start dieting, there's essentially a probably week-ish, maybe 2-week phase where I'm not really burning any body fat. All I'm doing is actually, at least visually, shrinking, because I'm using up a lot of my internal glycogen, right, that sugar water, as energy before I start using the body fat, you know? So all I'm doing is basically depleting my internal carb reserves, and once they're low enough, that's when, on average, right, I'm going to start using body fat to, you know, run all my internal processes, and then subsequently lose body fat and get leaner, if you kind of follow what I'm saying. I think that would, that definitely warrants its own like 15-minute talk with a little bit of prep to kind of describe. And that's why a cheat meal, if you're deep into a diet, is not the end of the world, because you're not instantly going to convert all of those extra calories into body fat, right? Just as your internal carbs are easily burnable, they're also easily replenishable, you know? So when I was doing that bodybuilding show, I did a full day fast, dehydrated, but the fast is what I'm talking about here. So my internal carb reserves were empty, at least as empty as I've ever seen them, right? So I was really sunk down. And then that day, you know, going into the next day too, I probably ate minimum 1,200 grams of carbs, you know, from rice cakes and just sweets and everything. And did I get fat? Right? Did I get any substantial fat gain from all those extra carbs? No, right? All the carbs got, you know, replenished into my internal glycogen stores, making you feel, you know, carved up and full, right? So that's how I think about it. And anything that kind of overcomplicates it beyond that, I think personally is a bit gimmicky, right? Like the idea that, you can be in a calorie surplus and still burn body fat because you did fasted cardio. I don't see it. You know, body recomposition is legit, but I'm talking for like the, you know, you work out, you've been lifting for a considerable amount of time, you're not working off of newbie gains. You're either gaining muscle and body fat, gaining muscle and a little body fat, or maintaining muscle and burning body fat. I don't think there's really any in between there, right? And that's why I'm so stressful about, or not, you know, stressful, but specific about really hyping up calorie tracking and cardio and energy expenditure, because that's what works, right? If I know that I track everything and I count everything, I don't go over my limits, and my weekly average is right where I want it, I'm gonna get leaner. It's not a question of if or maybe, or it's, okay, if I eat this much, I will lose this much body fat. Now, there are other factors at play. Those are things you just kind of have to learn for yourself, you know, but it's as simple as that, but it's not as easy as that. It's kind of my finisher there. You know, it's like watching somebody dunk a basketball. All you have to do is jump and put it in the hoop. Right? A little more to it than that, but if you break it down to its core components, that's all. If you get what I'm saying. But I've got another 10 minutes till I have to. I should have drove with someone so they could just drop me off to go in there. I'm gonna have to park, walk in, get everything, come back, find my car. That's okay. It beats just losing all my freaking stuff. But no, awesome lift, and I'm getting excited for arms tomorrow. So I think, ooh, shit, I'm in the wrong lane. There we go. Yeah, I think I'll just have to see you then.